Yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, man. I'm out here. Just witnessed a great heavyweight fight. I thought it was a great one, man. Andy Joshua, Klitschko. I want to know what you guys think of the fight. I just want to go live for a minute. It's a nice ass day. Santos, what up? What'd you think of the fight if you watched it? Yeah, that's the question everyone wants to see. Joshua versus Wilder. That's a good ass fight, man. AJ did look done. He looked in the, what is it called? The fifth round, I think. Fifth round. He was just leaning on the ropes, looked wilted. Man, that was a great fight, man. Dope fight, awesome fight. Yeah, Joshua, I mean, I think both fighters showed their durability, their heart. I mean, that was a rough fight for both of them, man. Yeah, 41-year-old, you can't take nothing away from that, man. He's 41 and gave somebody way younger, 27 or whatever, a hell of a fight and a run for his money. That was a great, exceptional fight. I know HBO has to be mad too. HBO has to be mad that Showtime got the rights to it in real time, and they have to do the rebroadcast. That's the fight I want to see. Wilder. So I'm gonna be on here probably like 15 minutes or so. This is probably gonna kill my battery. I'm about to get something to eat. Do an impression of Floyd Mayweather when he acts like he don't know. Oh wow, yo, I'm not even in the impression mode. I'm just coming down off of the, you have to let me warm up to it. I'm just coming down off the high of watching that fight. Yeah, Ortiz is a beast. Ortiz, I'm glad he signed with Al Heyman, but he has to raise his profile. Ortiz got to raise his profile to the point where his name, people can't avoid him, because right now Joshua has 2 belts, IBF, WBA, and it's easy for people to just say, who is that guy? When's he last fought? You know what I'm saying? He's almost 40. I don't think Ortiz is boring, but he's still a good fighter and he can get on his toes. Watch the Bryant Jennings fight. That could get Joshua in trouble. The thing too, Joshua has to, I seen some flaws. I mean, realistically, all the heavyweights, I seen flaws. All of today's heavyweights, the young crop of fighters, I see like little flaws or inconsistent performances. Like Joshua needs to work on that gas tank. I think he came in too big, too heavy, like that 250. I don't know, because he looked like huge. He looked like a tank, and it looked like he was winded in the 5th, 6th round, and it took him like a couple rounds to recuperate. And Klitschko, being 41, was a little bit mindful, and he wasn't as aggressive. But I tell you this: if Klitschko was on the ropes, or excuse me, if Joshua was on the ropes with Wilder would force the stoppage. If he was looking all tired and falling back and wilted, because that's one of Wilder's specialties, to be honest, is like finishing guys if he gets you hurt. So Klitschko was still, you know, he's 41. He looked noticeably smaller, and he was still, he was more aggressive when he got up from the knockdown. But beyond that, he was aggressive in spots, but not like what Wilder would do. So you can't be laying on the ropes and about to fall over and the ropes are keeping you up and stuff. That wouldn't be good versus Deontay Wilder, in my honest opinion. But Wilder, that's the type of fight where it could be a fight of whoever lands first. They both have real deal power, and it could be a situation of who lands that clean shot, because either of them have the power to debilitate you to the point where you can't perform or your legs aren't the same. I do think Wilder has a little bit more cracks. I don't know why. I think Joshua has better technique, like just bow, you know what I'm saying? Like better fundamentals and a grasp of just overall good boxing. But I think Wilder, maybe it's probably because of his lack of technique or lack of amateur pedigree. Maybe he just throws so wild or whatever. I think it actually benefits him, because when he does hit you, like he said to Tony Bellew, guys convulse and they have seizures and seize on the ground and stuff like that. So that's just my thoughts. Yeah, his wide stance and he has a crazy wingspan. He's like 6'7". I met him. He was in New York. I mean, excuse me, it was Vegas we were at. He's a big dude, man. Pause. Yeah. I told you guys too, the heavyweight division, I don't really believe in chins. Like, I think maybe some of the throwback fighters like Vander Holyfield to me had a really good chin that stood out, but this new crop of fighters, I seen Tyson Fury get dropped by a cruiserweight, Steve Cunningham, Eric Molina, who lost to Chris Arreola at the time, buckled Wilder, and I seen Wilder get knocked out as an amateur. Klitschko, we've seen him knocked out even before tonight. Joshua got dropped by Dillian White in the amateurs, and he just got dropped by a 41-year-old Vladimir Klitschko. So, I mean, realistically, all these dudes can hurt you. All the top dudes, not Kevin Johnson or somebody like that, but all these 240, 250, 60-pound dudes that are at the level, you know what I mean, with big names, titles, they can all hurt you. I mean, I haven't seen a remarkable chin from the heavyweight division. I mean, credit to both guys today in today's fight. They showed a chin by getting up and heart and stuff and conditioning, but I haven't seen just the last chin that really impressed me at heavyweight was Bermane Stiverne, and that was when he fought Wilder, because he took some hellacious shots in that fight, and he was still cognizant, you know what I mean? And he's been stopped before. I think it was a BS stoppage against Demetrius King, but Bermane Stiverne has a chin. But at the same time, I think Bermane Stiverne might have paid for that, because the very next fight he got knocked down by a lower level heavyweight like Derek Rossi or somebody. Yeah, UK is lit, man. The Wembley is lit as hell, man. That was a great fight for boxing. People complain about Mayweather Pacquiao and this and that. Man, this was the fight to have all eyes on. I actually didn't have a problem with Mayweather Pacquiao like some people, but yet and still, this was no doubt about it, this fight delivered on all fronts. Lara versus Andrade, that's a toss-up. I don't know. They're both southpaws. I'd probably give an edge to, I don't know, because I would say before the Jack Kukule fight, I would easily say, well, not easily, I would just say Andrade, but he didn't look great in that fight. So Lara is kind of inactive, a little bit older. It's a toss-up fight, rematch for the amateurs. I really feel like Lara and Andrade will both get up for the fight because they know each other from the amateurs. So that's a good fight. A lot of good fights, man. Yeah, Wembley, I would have loved to be at that venue. That Wembley looked crazy. What's the next fight for Vladimir? I don't know. He might end up retiring after that. Like, it was a noble, valiant effort, but maybe he feels, you know what I mean, what are you going to do at this point? Is he going to go after like a Joseph Parker? Maybe, but these guys are young, strong, in prime. Definitely a fight of the year candidate so far. Canelo Chavez, I think the styles will clash, but they have a lot to live up to put it down, you know what I mean, on American soil, because that was a hell of a fight. What about Fonfara Stevenson? Are you just saying who wins? I don't know, because Stevenson, to me, he's kind of inconsistent too. Well, he's not fighting frequently enough for my liking. I think he should fight a lot more being a champion. And to me, Stevenson's a good fighter. He's left-hand dominant, but at the same time, he hasn't fought a name, like a in-prime name that we all know. His last performance that really just triggers in my brain is against when he fought Chad Dawson. And Chad Dawson had just lost via stoppage to Andre Ward. But Sakio Bika, Tommy Carpensey, Fonfara the first time, you know what I mean, a couple performances like that, those are good performances, but damn near not, like, we know they're not the Kovalevs, the Wards, the Artur Beterbievs of the division, even the Vladic dude. So I gotta see Stevenson more active. Fonfara was getting outboxed versus Chad Dawson, who's a fighter who's kind of considered faded or whatnot, and then he turned around and knocked him out. So I don't know. Yeah, I told people before, and I think even after that performance, I would lean towards Wilder to beat Joshua. But listen to me, you guys know I call boxing how I see it, and whether I'm right or wrong, That's what it is. But at the moment, if they were to fight in 5 months, I would pick Wilder. And I like both of them. I like both fighters. I just think there's certain things that I feel like Wilder would capitalize with more with Joshua. For example, like I said, if he looked gassed out, if Wilder got pushed Joshua to a point where he was gassed out like he was in the 5th round versus Vladimir, Wilder is too damn aggressive. He's slightly taller and bigger than Klitschko, and he's way more aggressive. So Wilder's not going to let you off the hook. Klitschko had just come back from being hurt. So Wilder, I think, is just a good finisher. And I think Joshua, listen closely, I believe Joshua is the better boxer. But there's other things you have to equate. It doesn't always matter who's the better boxer. I think Broner is a better boxer than Maidana in terms of fundamentals, punching, movement, athleticism. But that doesn't always win the fights. To me, the Joshua Wilder, it could be an issue of who just lands first, who lands the first money shot. But I think the athleticism, the size, the power of Deontay Wilder is going to pose some real life problems for Joshua, especially, I don't know what it is, but certain fights he seems like he seems like old Canelo. Not that he fights like Canelo, but when Canelo was coming up fighting Shane Mosley, he was almost like taking rounds off and fighting in spurts. And I think Anthony Joshua, you can't really afford to that. For whatever reason, Wilder has showed me that he can be losing a fight, come from behind, and still get the stoppage. And he showed me conditioning to easily go the 12 rounds like Bermane Stavern, or go later in the fight. But I've seen at least 2 fights right now with Anthony Joshua where he seems gassed midway through. And that was Dillian White, and it was this fight tonight versus Vladimir Klitschko. He seemed like he was gassed out. And that's Wilder's not the person you need to be gassed out with, because he knows, people say he's windmill Wilder and all that, but he'll windmill your ass up out of there. So that's just kind of how I see it. But there's no shade to Joshua. I really like Joshua. I think he showed a lot of, I don't know, I thought I showed a lot of heart, a lot of everything. Yeah, Wilder's very athletic. Joshua has athleticism, but another thing, this is my advice for Joshua, he needs to not come in so heavy at the weigh-in. That 250, I don't think that's really where he needs to be. I think he needs to go back to trying to get his body low to 240s, like 242, 243, and call it a day. But Joshua has real deal power too, man. And he has real heart. That was 2 gold medalists in there. I don't think I'm going to Canelo Chavez. It's just so much, man. I haven't even barely been home. I got so much stuff on my plate. I might go to the Box Expo, though, for that day. But I don't think I'm going to go to the fight because I didn't apply for credentials. And then tickets, they've been sold out, so I'm not going to go to the fight. Wilder does have flaws, but I agree with that. Wilder does have a lot of flaws, but at the same time, I think that would actually benefit him because he's not a textbook fighter. He's like almost a Maidana-ish fighter per his division. So I think that actually gives him the advantage, because when I looked at it, Klitschko was kind of in there. He looked in good shape, and he was moving and feinting, had his hand low, his left was low, and stuff like that. So I think not being textbook against a guy who can box, like Joshua can clearly box, and he has power. So I think that would actually work to Wilder's advantage. Yeah, Tyson Fury, he really messed it up for himself, because this could have been Tyson Fury. What did DMX say? It could have been you. This could have been him. This could have been his event. 90,000 for him versus Joshua. And instead he let his appetite for destruction, or whatever you want to call it, like overtake his life, where his personal life started affecting his professional life. British boxers are a level too high. We'll see. And the other thing too, man, and this is no disrespect because I like him too, But Tony Bellew needs to stay up out of the heavyweight division, like, or fight like a low-level person. But I really can't see Tony Bellew in there with Wilder. I think, people are saying, oh, British boxers are too much. That's one British boxer that I don't think, like, I give Joshua a shot versus Wilder. I don't really give Bellew a shot. I'm not going to say it's luck, but the David Haye, he was fortunate because David Haye was throwing smoke, came out a little too aggressive. Bellew was pretty calm and collected, and he was boxing well. But then David Haye started actually improving and settling in, and he was landing some shots on Bellew. So Bellew does not, you can't get hit with them same shots by Wilder, man. Tony Bellew, I don't know. I just don't see it, man. 6'3", going up against someone 6'7". Ortiz, he's the dark horse of the division. He's the dark horse of the division, and he can upset anybody. But he has to have an on performance too, because I've seen inconsistent performances with him. Yeah, I agree with you. Joshua's way too muscle bound. Like, he's always going to be big. I mean, unless he does some crazy radical diet. But I thought he was too big because he looked. And I told people that in the, I believe in the 7 Reasons, or one of the videos I did in the build-up. Yo, Fernando, what up? Errol Spence might knock Brooke out. Charlo Hurd, that's a very good fight. I would lean towards Charlo after going to New York and seeing his performance. He looked much better with Derek James, Errol Spence Jr.'s trainer also, and he looked good in this particular fight. He looked powerful, he looked reinvigorated. I talked to him. He has a kid now, so he has different motivation. And Jared Swift Hurd is my dude. Follow him on Instagram, and you know what I mean, spoke with him like that. But I just think experience at this level plays a big part. Wilder's little, but people, you got to know boxing. You got to know what you're talking about, what the hell you're talking about. Wilder is probably, he weighs like 230, 232, 236, something like that, but he's knocking out people who are his size or bigger. You know what I mean? 6'6", and he's making them convulse on the ground. So he's arguably the biggest puncher at heavyweight. So him being 230 doesn't really matter because Tyson was like that too. Tyson was much smaller than a lot of his competition, but at the same time he's still stretching you, so it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter at all. If somebody has like Golovkin too. Golovkin's the same. I was trying to show y'all some of this Cali living, man. She was kind of pretty. Golovkin's not a big middleweight too, but he's knocking dudes out, a lot of them. He's hurting guys, so it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Golovkin and Wilder are kind of the same. They're not the biggest person in their division, but they're equally one of the biggest punchers in that division. I'm a dog, man. Why I gotta be all that? El Perro. Tank's fighting May 20th. Catch it on Showtime. Gary Russell Jr. too. They're both doing title defenses. Gary Russell has the WBC. Tank has the IBF. Porter Danny Garcia is a great fight. Great fight. Great stylistic matchup. And the WBC ranked Danny Garcia #1, but then they also had Porter versus Berto as an eliminator, so I don't really know who's #1. So that would be a great fight to establish the #1 for Keith Thurman, since he's talking about you don't want to fight till November. Or, I'll be gone till November. I'll be gone till November. Whatever he's talking about. Yeah, AJ did look done in round 5, man. But championship heart, salute. Luis, what up? Miracon, Bradley, they should have fought at 140, but if we can get it now, I would like that fight. Keith is too good for who? Let me read some of these comments. Damn, you've been watching the channel since 9th grade and you're in college now? That's dope. What do I think of Thurman versus Errol? Keith Thurman doesn't like it to the body. Like, no one really likes body shots per se, but he seems to deal with them exceptionally worse than other welterweights. That seems like his kryptonite. So, especially if Errol gets past Kell Brook, I think this is my opinion. I think Errol Spence is a tougher out for Kell Brook, and Kell Brook is a tougher out for Errol Spence. I'm not trying to underrate Keith Thurman, but I just think the stylistic matchup, I think Kell Brook, his technical ability, his jab, him having the same size as Errol Spence, is going to be, that's a harder fight for Spence than I think Thurman would be, just because of the style matchup. Errol throws too many damn body shots, and he's like the Mike McCallum kind of current welterweights, and he really invests in the body, which is like a forgotten tool. The jab and body work, very underrated, underutilized tools, and he has that. So I think that would be hard for Thurman. Especially, like I said, if Spence beats or stops Brook, then I'm definitely picking him to beat Keith Thurman. Right now, it's, you know what I mean, we have to see how he gets past Brook, or if he does. Who bitched out? I'm trying to keep up with these comments. Charlo versus Canelo. Dangerous fight. I got to see how both of them look past 160, because both of them are 54, 55. I was born ready type of weight fighters, so I haven't seen either one of them at 160 to know what damage they could do, how they look, how their power carries up. So I got to at least see one of them, if not both of them. Broner versus Bradley, it's a good fight. It's not a tune-up. I don't think it's an easy fight. I don't think it's a tune-up like Bradley said. That's a real fight. Broner, people got to understand, and I talked to my dude Joey Spencer, interview coming soon. He's out of the Virgil Hunter gym. He's young, but he's very affluent, like with his knowledge when it comes to boxing. And we were talking about Broner. You got to give Broner credit, man. Broner, people confuse like what they don't like about Broner personality-wise with this fight game. Broner took shots from a top 3 welterweight puncher, M.A. Donna, and didn't get knocked out. He got hurt. He got hurt and knocked down, but he didn't get knocked out. That was his second fight. So I don't really think Bradley will be able to stop him, even though he stopped Brandon Rios. I don't think he'll be able to stop Broner. So that means you got to deal with Broner for 12 championship rounds. And that's a good fight. Broner, for his part, he's flat-footed, and Bradley can box him and brawl, put punches together, so he could be aggressive and make Broner uncomfortable. So it's just a good fight. It's overall a good fight. You said Broner's trash at 47, but he knocked down Sean Porter at welterweight. So that's an even fight to me. Yeah, Bradley wouldn't. I don't see it. Even though he KO'd Brandon Rios, I don't see him KOing Broner at all. See, I could tell who's like real diehard boxing fans and who's like kind of boxing. You're talking about Wilder and helicopter swings. It's like the same exact verbatim jargon and recycled stuff that people say. Oh, Wilder windmill punches, helicopter swings, or whatever. That's not, break the fight down. If you pick AJ, that's fine. I have no problem with that, because it's a good fight. It's a close fight on paper. But just saying the same thing that everyone says, he ran, helicopter swings, that means you can't break down the fight to me when people say that. Porter knockdown was not hurt by that shot. Well, he looked pretty hurt to me, because he hit the ground and he looked around like he didn't know what hit him. So to me, I thought he was hurt. I don't know what you guys seen, but to me, Porter looked hurt, because it's like, why was he looking around all like shocked looking? Yeah, Porter was clearly hurt. That's what I'm saying. You got to know boxing, body language. If he wasn't hurt, then he should have just got back up. Like, I've seen guys that weren't hurt and they get right back up and they like didn't do nothing. That's like saying Shane Mosley wasn't hurt when Pacquiao dropped him with that straight left or whatever. Shane Mosley was laying down like this, like he was clearly hurt, because he's looking all crazy, like, you know what I mean? If you're not hurt, that's not how you react. Nah, he didn't look. Watch that fight again. He didn't look right at Broner. He looked at his dad or somebody. He was looking like, oh, like what just happened? Because he was clearly winning the fight, and then out of nowhere, Broner hit him with the check left hook or whatever. Yeah, watch that fight again. Porter looked kind of a little bit dazed, like what happened? Like, how did this happen when I was controlling the fight for 11 rounds? That's what I seen. It wasn't look like he just, oh, flash knockdown, let me get back up. Because he was actually on the ground for a minute, and Broner went in for the kill. So if he wasn't hurt, I don't see why he would have been holding. And when he got back up, I think he started holding Broner. When Broner was trying to attack him, he should have just, why wouldn't he just be banging with him if he wasn't hurt? So to me, that's an indication that he was hurt. Spence Canelo, why are you even talking about that? Canelo's at 164.5, and we don't even know if he gets past Chavez Jr., so. Porter Bradley, he called out. I was at Porter's gym in Vegas. Or actually, they don't like what I call it a gym. Performance center, high performance center, facility. And he called out Bradley, said he would love that fight. So I would love it too. Charlo beats everybody at 160? I don't know. Danny Jacobs and Golovkin, those are tough outs for anybody at 160. David Lemieux, maybe. I think David Lemieux lacks like fundamentals, but he looked real good, and he has the power to hurt anybody at 160. So, I mean, some fights like that it doesn't matter, technique, skill. If you bomb somebody with the right type of power, it's kind of like what I was saying with Wilder and Joshua. Lemieux got game changer power. Like, you could be perfectly fine and be like, what the? And you might be out of there. You might not even react because you just lights out. Like Eddie Murphy said in The Golden Child, he said, I could destroy you just like that. He said, and nobody will have to be destroyed just like that. I don't do pound for pound lists. No point. I don't know. I don't think Eubanks, I don't think he carries enough power. Danny Jacobs hit Golovkin with some shit. I was there live, and Golovkin took it extremely well. Golovkin also tucks his chin well. But he took a couple monster shots, I think, in the round 11, and Golovkin didn't even really look too bothered. So I don't know if Eubanks would be able to attrition him and get him with uppercuts or hurt him. Yeah, people are sleeping. I just got in an argument with my brother. He said that Deontay Wilder and Klitschko have equivalent power, and I don't see that. I think, like, and trust me, I'm not sleeping on Klitschko's power. I know he has power in general, but I don't think it's the same as Wilder. When I see Wilder, the dude's doing the Harlem Shake and stuff, and that's different. That's a different type of power, because Klitschko, he caught Fast Eddie Chambers, who's like a cruiserweight. He caught him with like a leaping left hook and knocked him out. He was hurt. Imagine Wilder in there with him. I don't think it would be. Klitschko does not have more power than Wilder. He has more technique, he has more skill, he has more experience. I'm good with that, but I do not believe Klitschko has more power than Wilder at all. Bellew sparks Wilder, you're tripping. I'll bet money. We could PayPal that right now. And I don't have no problem with either fighter, but I cannot see Bellew because of the David Haye fight. David Haye's body gave up on him, just like Sergio Martinez versus Cotto. You know what I mean? So if you want to bank it off of that, then so be it. But I ain't seeing that. I can't picture no Bellew. Wilder does have more power. And it actually maybe even benefits him because he's so sloppy or wild or whatever you want to call it, that he's explosive with it. Versus Klitschko's more Ukrainian boxing school, more straight at you. Wilder is just like, maybe it's because he's winging the shots and they just land crazy, but he's kind of, like I said, close to a Maidana-ish type of fighter, where his sloppiness with natural ability and power is creating stuff. But the only thing is, Wilder is a lot more athletic than Maidana. Maidana is not athletic at all. But Wilder is, and he's more speedy than a guy like Maidana. Well, they're saying Cotto might fight Kamagai, which is horrible. Kamagai lost to Robert Guerrero. It was a war. Some people had him winning, but it was a loss on paper. And that was in like 2014. And he ain't really done nothing to me to deserve a Cotto fight. I mean, the only thing he did was he just knocked out Jesus Soto Caras, but that was after Thurman, after Maidana, after Berto got knocked out, but Berto hurt him with one arm. Who's Soto Caras in the grand scheme of the welterweight division? Man, you said people are so ridiculously asleep on Wilder's power. That's the thing. They're literally sleep off his power. The dude has power, man. Like I said, I'm a big dude, and I seen him in Vegas. He's a big dude, big wingspan. Klitschko does not have as much power as Wilder. I do not believe that. And I know Klitschko has power. He has more fights. He has more knockouts. But Wilder knocked out everyone but Bermane Stavern. But he badly hurt Stavern, and it should have been ruled a knockdown. The other thing is Klitschko in 60-plus fights, I know for a fact that he's fought some similar, because Klitschko clearly has a better resume than Deontay Wilder, but Klitschko has fought some Gerald Washington caliber guys or Eric Molina caliber guys, right? He's fought those type of people, and he's fought watch Wilder versus Sergio Likowicz or something like that. He's like a former contender or whatever, and he was on the ground shaking, like when Donaire knocked out Fernando Montiel. It was bad. He looked like he was like, he's convulsing. These are the results of 1,000 electric votes. That old Eminem. It was bad. And like I said, the people that Klitschko fought, that he knocked out, sometimes even smaller, got Alex Lapai, where does he fit in the heavyweight division? He got knocked out, but he didn't get knocked out like that, like where he was knocked out having a seizure. He got stopped. There's a difference between getting stopped and getting knocked out. You know what I mean? They're both, that's why it's called a technical knockout, because technically you knocked them out because they couldn't continue. But a knockout where it's just like flatline and they look dead, that's different. Marquez versus Pacquiao, he got knocked the fuck out. That was a knockout. He's on the ground face planted. Artur Spilka, in a fight he was arguably winning or competitive in, he looked crucified. His body was stretched out like that. That's different. When's the last time you seen Klitschko stretch somebody like that? So to me, I really firmly believe, I'm not talking about skill, I'm not talking about who you like, I'm not talking about skin color, experience, craft, personality. I'm talking about power for power. I don't agree with my brother who said he thinks Vladimir has equivalent power to Wilder. I just don't see it. Shout out to Brazil, man. Hold on. Yeah, there's different. Some people got concussive power. Even Golovkin. I don't think Golovkin has. He's a strong guy. And no, strong guy. Like, I get it. He's strong, but he'll hurt you. He can stop you. But I don't see Golovkin traditionally knock out people in a brutal fashion. Last person I could think of where he knocked them out, like spark out, was against Ishida, who was a 154-pounder whose claim to fame was beating all over the place James Kirkland, you know what I mean, mentally. That's different, you know what I mean? That's a 54-pounder. But name a 160-pounder, like when David Lemieux got knocked out by Golovkin, he seemed like he knew where he was just getting overwhelmed. He didn't look like he was just like, oh. Klitschko looked like he was in worse shape versus Wilder, or versus Joshua today, than David Lemieux did versus Golovkin. So there's differences in power. Mikey versus Crawford, I'm going Crawford. And I love Mikey Garcia, I love Crawford, but I talked to somebody who was in the amateurs with them guys, and he told me what went on as amateurs with the Crawford fight, and I'm not picking Mikey Garcia. And I understand amateurs is amateurs, but we're seeing both fighters develop as pros, and they're both damn good. But Crawford's been far more active. He's acclimated to higher weights, and he hasn't had like a 2-year dry spell like Mikey Garcia. So if Mikey Garcia couldn't get it done in amateurs, plus his career has had more setbacks being on the sidelines for 2 years, then I got to pick Crawford, especially based on what they told me happened in the amateurs. So Jermell Charlo versus Tim Bradley, I don't see that happening, so it's not worth the discussion. Why would that happen? Jermel's at 54, and he's a champion. Bradley's been inactive since April of last year. Mikey versus Jorge. Mikey. I think Mikey will knock out Jorge Linares. Linares is a great fighter, and when he's boxing, he's probably one of the most phenomenal boxers to watch. When he shoots his uppercut, when he's throwing combinations, but I don't believe in his chin, and I don't believe in him when the going gets tough and you have to do what Joshua and Klitschko did today and gut one out. I think he'll collapse. So I think Mikey Garcia would fight him extremely aggressive, and people like Brandon Rios and Maidana are talking about Mikey Garcia when he was in the 120s hitting harder than anybody that they fought, Pacquiao and anybody they sparred with, Maidana and all this stuff. So I don't think Jorge Linares would be able to stand up to the size and the power of an aggressive Mikey Garcia, who's a methodical fighter himself. He puts it together. He's smart, and I think he's just too strong. But Linares, I mean, maybe he can outbox Mikey Garcia, but I would lean towards Mikey, to be honest. Wilder versus Joshua is better than Fury versus Joshua. But I will say this, if for whatever reason they can't get Wilder Joshua done, or they want to wait, then I definitely don't mind Wilder versus Fury. The thing is, Fury's out of shape, so he needs to get that under control before he fights anybody. Cruz Frampton 3, I could wait on that. I'd rather see Abner Mares versus Santa Cruz than the rematch in that over the trilogy. We already seen it. Let that die down. That doesn't have to be an immediate trilogy. Actually, I think, this is going to sound crazy, I think Wilder versus Fury is probably a harder fight for Wilder than Joshua. I'm not saying Joshua's an easy fight, but stylistically, Joshua comes forward, and I don't know. I really think Fury's probably a harder style, because Fury's going to go in there herky-jerky like he did with Klitschko, hands low and hands behind his back and all that. And Wilder is a person who's kind of, he can be wild at times, and yeah, Wilder could be like just wild and stuff like that. So I think he would have more of a time with the guy whose identity's more of a herky-jerky boxer, as opposed to a guy who's like a boxer puncher and has fatigue issues at times, stuff like that. But Joshua maybe could crack Wilder with something and catch him. He's fundamentally sound. So Brooks Spence, I already told you guys who I'm going with. I'm going with Spence. I might do a 7 Reasons. I don't know. Depends how I feel. But the person I'm picking is Spence. It's not a gimme fight. It's not an easy fight. It's a 50-50 fight, as it should be. See, hopefully this is why my channel is growing, because I tell you what I really feel. Like, I'm not, it's nothing that people get mad and say you hate this fighter. I don't hate. I like Kell Brook. I talked about Kell Brook in the States before a lot of people even knew who he was. I just think the stylistic matchup, Marvel over DC. I don't have a problem with DC, but I grew up on Marvel, so Marvel. But I like Spence. I like Brook. I just think the stylistic matchup, coming down from weight. Well, I'll save it because I might do it. I might end up doing the 7 Reasons. I don't know yet. Eddie Hearn will sleep Frank Warren. He's too old, too small. Eddie Hearn's a pretty big dude. Yeah, I mean, would I open my own gym? I wouldn't mind it. I probably wouldn't work in it every day, because I don't like to be, I like adventure and stuff, but that's a good idea if I get to that level. Do I think Errol Spence Jr. has the same power as Felix Trinidad? No. I mean, I don't. Trinidad had special power to me. Like, I don't know, there was that situation with his gloves too, but his left hook was just a monster. So they kind of fight different to me. I never really considered those two. There's a Marvel character called Ego. That's tight. I didn't even know that. Bradley versus Collazo. I'd rather see Garcia Collazo straight away. Puerto Rico versus Puerto Rico, or Puerto Rican American in the Barclays. That makes all the sense in the world. Plus, they're both on the same side of the fence with promoters. or an Al Heyman advisor or whatever. Bradley's with Top Rank, and Top Rank likes to make a lot of in-house fights. So Tito Trinidad too big for Pacquiao. And he had that money left hook. Pacquiao would be jumping into stuff. Ego for president. Yeah, Pacquiao, if he jumped into that left hook, he'd be snoring. Oscar beat the shit out of Trinidad, but that's Oscar. Oscar is 154. When he fought Pacquiao, he came down to weight division late in his career, which is the reason why that was the last fight of his career, because he probably felt like he couldn't compete and he was depleted, and he decided to call it quits. So you can't celebrate off another man's victory. What De La Hoya did, I mean, that's like saying, is Rustico Torrecampo better than De La Hoya? Rustico knocked out Pacquiao, but De La Hoya couldn't. But we know who's the better fight. Or fighter. I heard Oscar had to have an IV for the Pacquiao fight. Like, he was that messed up from it, from the weight cut or whatever. And that wasn't a catch weight per se, but it was, he had went up to fight Bernard Hopkins at a higher weight, and then he was coming down to welterweight, a weight he hadn't had to make in some time. At least the Kell Brook versus Errol Spence Jr., he did a once and done with Golovkin. He moved up to 160, did a once and done, and then he's immediately coming right back. But that's like Kell Brook not fighting at welterweight since 2015, and then in 2022 or something, he tries to come back to welterweight after he's been fighting at 54 and 60. You don't want to mess around with your weight, especially the older you get, the harder it gets. You know what? To be honest, I was covering another fight. I haven't even seen Shakur Stevenson's debut because I was at the Berto Porter fight, and the other thing is I heard it ended kind of weird, so I haven't even had the time to examine it. I'm not going to Canelo Chavez. Garcia, Errol Spence. I'll go with Errol Spence just because the aggression, and Garcia seemed to respect Keith Thurman's power too much in those early rounds, and he never really adapted. And Errol Spence is more of the welterweight. All of his fights have been at welterweight or whatever. Mayweather would outbox the hell out of Margarito, I think. I think Margarito was just too slow. Way too slow. And Mayweather would do that. Margarito's, to me, I don't know. This is just kind of me, but he kind of seems like a person that, where it's, I don't know. He just doesn't seem, he's in shape at the weigh-ins, but he seems like he wouldn't be in great ass shape year round type of stuff. And Mayweather would jab to that solar plex and see, y'all getting blocked for that stupid shit. Of course I'll watch Mayweather-McGregor. One, is my job, and two, it's going to be an entertaining fight and build-up, and just to see what happens. If anyone's a diehard boxing fan and they say they won't watch it, I doubt that you're a hardcore boxing fan. I mean, if I watch Pacquiao versus Jesse Vargas and Pacquiao versus Chris Algieri where I immediately knew the outcome, or Mayweather-Berto, fights like that where I knew the outcome, then of course I'm going to watch a weird circus fight between the biggest UFC star and then the biggest boxer star. That jab to the solar plexus is underrated because you don't expect it and takes the wind out of you. Oh yeah, the trolls are getting blocked. See, and the thing is, people don't understand, like, I've been doing this too long. You can't, people are like, oh, haha, think they get under my skin. You don't get under my skin. I just block you and be done with it. And then I move on to the next thing. I'm about to get something to eat after, decide what I'm going to do tonight. We got an early night of fights. Fights are out of the way. It doesn't stop my paycheck, so people can troll on, but it doesn't really do anything but get you blocked. And then I just keep it pushing. It's that simple. I don't dwell on it. I'm like, oh, why did I block that guy? I don't. It's just, you're done. You're out of here. So if haters think they can affect me, then they're sadly mistaken, because at the end of the day, I've been doing this too long. People, you think strangers, I'm really upset, losing sleep over something somebody said on the internet. There ain't nothing that people haven't said already in my 3 years of doing this. No, I'm not stopping with no tough guy bullshit, because this ain't tough guy bullshit. I'm not trying to act like no tough guy. So, I'm not gonna stop. And when people tell me to stop, that just ensures that I keep doing whatever you told me to stop doing, unless it's some weirdo stuff. I still gotta watch the fight with, or the face-off with Canelo Chavez. I'm always doing it big, man. I'm enjoying life, enjoying boxing. 2017's been great. I'm in the Bay Area. I'm about to get something to eat. I just stopped to do this. Appreciate the love on the channel. What up, Mini Panda? Damn, you guys, the comments are so fast. Come to Humboldt. Why? Y'all got weed. I don't smoke. Yeah, he caught that fade. Vladimir caught that Fizzade. I knew it was gonna happen. That's why I did it on the 7 Reasons, man. Because, like, I mean, there's some oh shit moments for Anthony Joshua, but at the same, god damn. But there's some oh shit moments, but at the same time, the youth, the strength, I had a problem seeing. But Vladimir, he impressed me because he looked night and day from the Tyson Fury fight. He looked horrible in that fight to me. He seemed gun shy. He seemed like he didn't want to commit. He just let Tyson Fury faint him to death, and he never really made adjustments. But this fight, he definitely came. I understand the hashtag obsessed. He seemed like he was really honestly trying to win the fight. And arguably, up until the stoppage, you could maybe say he was. I think I had Joshua up, but it was very close and competitive. Y'all do too much with this exposed stuff. No, I don't think Joshua got exposed, right? Because there's a lot of doubters and people who doubted Joshua. When people, like, I'm gonna break it down real quick, and I'm gonna get something to eat after this and wrap this up. When people say Golovkin got exposed, it's because of who he's been built up as. He's a good fighter, but HBO, they make it sound like he's the boogeyman, like nobody wants to fight him, like nobody can beat him, like nobody can go, even his own trainer, they say nobody could go 12 rounds from a range, not just one weight class, not just no one at 160. Abel Sanchez said no one from 154 to 168 can go 12 rounds, and then Danny Jacobs goes 12 rounds with them and actually gets better beyond a knockdown. But Joshua, we already had questions about Joshua because he had never faced anyone. Charles Martin was not a proven champion. He won in a weird way against Glasgow, or whatever his name is, Glasgow, and he wasn't a proven champion. First title defense, he fought Joshua, Eddie Hearn, and Joshua did the right thing by even taking that fight, just because it moved him along and he became a champion probably quicker than they had in plan. But Joshua didn't get exposed because nobody knew what he could do on the grand level, and nobody's saying, what up? Nobody's saying it. Like what they're saying about Golovkin, they're saying no one can go 12 rounds with him. You know what I mean? It's different. And I see vulnerabilities, like it's different. Like Kell Brook is a welterweight, right? Kell Brook's a welterweight, jumped up 2 weight divisions and was giving Golovkin some work in that second round, lifting his head up, rocking his head up with shots, lifting him off the ground. Who can jump up 2 weight divisions and give Anthony Joshua some work? Who's gonna come up from light heavyweight? Kovalev will get slept. He's too small. Ward, them dudes, they can't. Ward's a great fighter, but he can't fight no heavyweight that size. Even though Ward's talked about moving to heavyweight, he talked about moving to heavyweight versus the right heavyweight. Like Roy Jones fought John Ruiz. He ain't talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. Joshua's too big. You know what I'm saying? So there's different when people say get exposed and all this. Anyone at light heavyweight will get mollywopped by Joshua. He's too damn big and strong. So this exposed stuff, just because you lose a fight or you have vulnerability or deal with adversity, doesn't automatically mean you're exposed. That doesn't make sense. Didn't Ward already fight Bellew on that Creed movie? I'm about to get this Hawaiian barbecue because it sounded delicious. Yeah, so I don't, just because someone gets knocked down or battles adversity, that doesn't mean they're exposed. It's to me, what I look at is like what's being said about them versus what's the truth. Even like I said with Golovkin, I use him as example because that's the other person I can think of a lot of people saying was exposed recently. They said things about Golovkin that I don't think are particularly true. Like, that was really weird. Nas, what up? One of my favorite rappers. Sorry, this little kid came. That was weird. For example, Golovkin, like I said, a welterweight moved up and challenged him. Klitschko ain't no dude that was moving up versus Joshua, right? Klitschko is more proven and decorated than Joshua. So how could you say Joshua is exposed when he knocked out the guy who hadn't lost in like 10 years and hadn't been knocked out in 10 years? So that's totally different as opposed to a welterweight having success when people said he's going to get slept in the first round. Or the Danny Jacobs fight. Totally different. AJ got hard, but I can't talk about Klitschko's hard enough too. Yeah, I'm the funniest, man. No, I'm just playing. Klitschko showed mad hard as well. It was a TKO. Yeah, but I mean, realistically, how Vladimir was getting knocked down twice in that round and spilling all over the place, it probably would have been a knockout had the ref not done anything, because Vladimir he looked done for. And Joshua seemed to like regain his senses and he seemed a bit more energized. So that's just my personal take. I mean, it was a TKO, but I really think it would have been worse if the ref didn't jump in. Because actually when the ref jumped in, Joshua wasn't even connecting clean, but before that he had been connecting clean and he was knocking him down. Yeah, he got knocked down 3 times. He would have needed a knockdown to win at that point, because the fight was, even if you had it dead even, Joshua had 3 knockdowns. One was like a 10-9 round, I would say, but he still had 2 other knockdowns, and Klitschko only had 1 knockdown. So Klitschko pretty much would have needed a knockout to win in a close fight. Troy's at his crib probably. I don't know. I don't always. Troy's the homie, but I don't always know what he's up to. Yeah, I need that fuel, man. I need that fuel. I'm about to eat. I'm gonna stay for like 5 more minutes, maybe. I don't know if Klitschko could have. I mean, the question is, could Klitschko have finished him? I think he would have if he could, but he didn't. So I'm gonna say no, because it's not like he showed mercy. He couldn't finish him because he didn't. Wilder Joshua was an excellent fight. I would love that fight. I told people I would probably lean, like I said, I would lean towards Wilder. I have different reasons for it. But if the fight materializes, I'll be more than happy to fully break it down. Who beats Joshua? I think Wilder. Maybe Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury can box, so maybe Tyson Fury can outpoint him. Ortiz could give him a real life problem. I mean, to me, the heavyweight game is wide open. It's really wide open. Yeah, Joshua, like everyone's saying, he looked done for in that 5th or 6th round. Crawford's very close to unifying. Crawford's a beast, man. I seen that dude live a couple of times. Beast. Klitschko should have went to the body. That would have been good, because Joshua seemed like, after the 5th round, Joshua seemed exasperated and like he had no type of energy at all. Like the way he was, I didn't like his body language at all in that 5th or 6th round. He was like just falling in the ropes easily. Like it looked like he was drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like he had no type of equilibrium. I don't know. I didn't like it. So I definitely think Klitschko should have went to the body or pressed him right there. But heavyweight division is definitely back. Yeah, Wilder's not going to get tired. I haven't seen him. I mean, he fought a more measured fight versus Bermane Stavern, and like I said, if he had created, like, got back from a knockdown and created the same situation that Klitschko had, I think Wilder would be far too aggressive to let Anthony Joshua get off the hook. I really see that. Yes, I like Nirvana. I don't buy shirts and clothes and stuff if I don't really like that. The Nevermind album, Teen Spirit, all that. Kurt Cobain was that dude. Yeah, and I told people that muscle bound stuff, that muscles take more oxygen to basically breathe and whatnot.
Taking pictures of me?
I'm live streaming. Wow, I almost got caught. She was like, y'all taking pictures of me? She said, are you taking pictures of me? Almost got caught up, y'all. But I'll tell her, like, you on YouTube. Watching what movie through the projector? Yeah, that's what I said earlier in this live stream. Joshua, he came in too damn heavy, 250, 251 or whatever, 250.1. He looked sluggish in the middle rounds. And like I'm telling you, you guys can believe whatever you want. My brother, he's saying Joshua will win, and my brother knows his boxing. But I really think that Joshua, in the same situation, the same fight, he wouldn't have wanted to been in there with Wilder tonight, because you can't be that heavy, you can't be slowing down. Wilder was I had him easily losing to Gerald Washington, my dude, shout out to the 707. Easily lose, and he turned it all around. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna catch a case, y'all tripping. Man, I got caught looking, man. She was like, you filming me? I don't know if y'all heard it. That was crazy. I don't care. What are you gonna do, sue me? Yeah, man, Wilder, y'all believe whatever you want. Wilder's dumbass athletic too. He's athletic, and he's not gonna let you off the hook. You seen, people was talking about this helicopter windmill stuff versus Washington or whatever, but did he get the stoppage? Yes, he got the stoppage from doing it. So if Joshua was falling back, languishing on the ropes like that, and he's doing all that, Joshua looked like he had no life in that 5th round. He didn't look good. He didn't look like he had steam. Yeah, I'm a Niners fan, but that's good I'm glad Marshawn Lynch is coming to the Raiders, playing for his hometown. That's dope. Man, I'm getting that Hawaiian barbecue, man. But yeah, Joshua, I didn't like his body language in that 5th round. And you have to keep in mind, and hopefully he learns from this fight, but that was after he knocked his man down, and he's looking like that on the ropes. And the other thing is, Wilder is a bit taller. He's 6'7", so he's like an inch taller. And I want to say he probably has longer arms than Klitschko. So it's a good fight, though. It could be, like I said, fights play out different. And when you got that type of power, you don't, you know what I mean, anyone lands with that type of authority, then it could be their fight. But to me, from what I've seen, and it's not just this fight, because Dillian, put it this way. And this I got to tell my brother, too, because he says Joshua will beat him. Dillian White hurt Joshua in the 2nd or 3rd round. And Dillian White has a good punch. He's been a fighter his whole life. He's a mixed martial artist before he got into boxing. But if Dillian White can hurt you when he's fresh, then Wilder can hurt you when he's fresh. Point blank, period. And he also, in that fight, Joshua seemed like he was gassed out for a minute. You know what I mean? He had to like recharge or whatever, recharge his batteries. So those signs aren't good. I think Joshua should just keep growing and keep learning. But if he fights Wilder next, I really think Wilder would get him. Maybe down the road, if he tightens up some of these loose ends, then it's possible he could beat Wilder. Or if we see some different, Wilder's Wilder. Like, the flaws he has are the flaws he's probably had since the Olympics. He's wild. I seen him versus Audley Harrison. He was throwing so hard, he like almost knocked himself down. I get it, but that would actually probably serve to his advantage because he'd be harder to predict. And I'm out.